Hello, everyone. This is Joseph Grimm. It's been a while since I've done a live recording. It's been a while since I've done a show. I'm still waiting for our guest, Jeremy Domel. To come on. And I will show you who Jeremy Domel is. Give me 30 seconds, people. Jeremy Domel is a life coach, teacher, conscious awareness, energy assistant healer. Bringing him on now.
Brother,
Jeremy,
hello, my
how are
friend.
you?
I'm good. Just setting up
Good.
here.
Good. I don't have to connect my headset.
Okay. Go ahead with the introduction. Say whatever you say. Go ahead. We love it.
Good. I was telling people that I was bringing on Jeremy Domel. I was saying he is a life and recovery coach, teacher of conscious awareness, energy healer, writer, and medium. He is a good friend of mine, and I was introduced to him by a person that was my mentor. That I cannot not going to say who they are because they've asked me not to. We know who the mentor is. But what I usually, it's been a long time since I've done a podcast. It's like I've been out of the game for a year. So people I introduced, Jeremy Domel, good friend, good teacher, good mentor, and most of all, a brother in recovery, just like I am. I would like to do
Amen.
something different that I haven't done in a long time. I'd like to open up with a little bit of a, I'd like Jeremy to open up the floor with a little bit of prayer.
Okay. Thank you, Brother Joseph. Breathe in, breathe out. We say thank you, Creator, Father, Mother, Father. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for our physical life. We humbly ask you to deeply ground our sisters and brothers, myself and my sisters and my brothers now at this time. From the very beginning of time, the Mother Earth, Sacred Heart Space to the elements of earth, water, fire, air, and ether, grounding our inner child, mature self, higher self, divine masculine, divine feminine, masculine, higher self, mature self, inner child from the very beginning of time. To Mother Earth, Sacred Heart Space in all 13 directions, dimensions, densities, energetic grids, universes, parallel universes. We ask you to help open our hearts and our minds to help us to let go and dissolve any uncomfortability, unpleasantries, any fears as we open up to discuss whatever it is we are meant to discuss in this time, to do that with love and compassion. And we say thank you so much to the elements of earth, water, fire, and air, and our sisters and brothers who are joining us at this time. And thank you. Aho.
Wow, we have, let's see who we've all got watching. Of course, we have Jolene Yuri watching. We have Daniel Breuer.
Hello, everyone.
Let's see who. Let me go this way.
Greetings, beautiful souls.
We have Renee Stanlin. We have Daniel Breuer. Him and his wife run a podcast of their own. I've known them for a while. So, Jeremy, what I made it through two of your voicemails you sent me on your background. I was blown away by things I did not know about you. I mean, I was absolutely awestruck by your path that you've come on. Where you come from, where you started out at, how you started this path.
Excuse us. Would you like us to talk about that?
Awestruck.
Would you like us to share a little bit about that?
I'll let you share your story. You know it better than anybody. Was in tears. I listened to it with another mentor earlier, and I, and him were in tears. Three of us were in tears over your story. I was blown away. The strength you have. So I opened the show to Jeremy Domel. life coach.
Thank you, brother. So our journey began with an awareness. We'll say it this way. Jeremy's not in psychosis when he says we. This is actually me just kind of listening to me or higher self or spirit. We started this journey with an experience. One of the first traumas that I remember was seeing spirits as a child. Today, what we understand is disincarnates or non-physical beings. I remember sharing that with my parents and saying, and they would say, "You're having nightmares, go back to bed." No fault of their own. They just simply didn't understand. Like any parent would say, "It's okay, just go back to bed." And I used to sleep like a dog curled up at the top of the stairs, like outside their bedroom door. I was very afraid. I was very afraid of storms. I felt a lot more, felt feeling, sensing, and knowing more when there was electrical energy or fire spirit and storms and lightning and all these things. And I was diagnosed like a lot of behavioral issues when I was born with cerebral palsy. So I I saw a lot of doctors, counselors, psychiatrists, psychologists, you name it. Dual diagnosis, you could say, lots of behavioral disorders. As my life went forward, I became dependent on substances, alcohol, uh, painkillers, you name it, everything else. I was prescribed these things as at a young age. Doctors told me that I would need that to have a quality of life. I suffered addiction, and I'm grateful for it. I was an IV drug user. I was on two different types of fentanyl patches at the end of my prescription, and Western medicine doctors, and 90 hydrocodone a month, cortisone injections, Botox injections, you name it. And to fast forward this, I found recovery in 2018, and no matter what mind or mood altering substances I would be taking, I could still feel, sense, and know spirit. When I went into my first recovery place, I started having a lot of supernatural experiences. I saw my brother and a lot of other non-physical beings in the treatment facility. A woman came to share about her son who had committed suicide, who had suffered an addiction. I remember I'm just going to be really quick, but I think this is important to talk about. I remember telling somebody in my small group, I don't know, man, if I'm losing my mind or whatever. And he's like, "Listen, my mother was from the old land in Greece, and she's a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and you should talk to her, and she'll let you know if you're crazy." She said, "You're not crazy. You're known as an HSP, highly sensitive person. You're very open to feeling, sensing, and knowing, and that's a beautiful attribute. And that you should always say whatever you feel and not fear that if ever needed." Well, there was this woman coming to share about her story about her son who was in addiction and suffered and took his own life. I remember having a massive headache, and it was like on the right hemisphere of my head. And I was so sensitive to the light before she went to speak. And I was really intrigued and really knew I had to see this woman speak. And I asked staff, "Is it okay if I wear sunglasses inside?" I was the last person in the room. I had the front seat up in front against the wall, and the light sensitivity was crazy and it was killing me on my head. I had a massive headache on the right hemisphere of my head, and I started to soften and open. And I remember seeing, feeling, sensing, and knowing my brother's spirit who passed away in '94 there. And I was crying into the wall, and I was so emotional. And as I was opening myself up to it, the headache went away, and I started seeing a representation of this woman's son who took his own life. And I saw a lot of things that he was presenting himself. And as the mother was ready to conclude her speech about her son, she had a bag, and in that bag was a toy from his childhood. Okay, and I'm gonna land with this and pass this over. But anyway, so okay, let's just slow down, Jeremy, and just speak. So she had this bag. She's at a podium, and I saw a vision of and what it was we saw it, and it was the monkeys with the symbols and a little childhood toy like that. And she pulled it out of the bag, and I'm like, "Okay, wow, we saw that before that came out. That's incredible." When she was done, everybody said, "Thank you for speaking," and it was me, the mother, and a counselor in the room. And I told her what I was feeling, sensing, and knowing. I said that your son was in the room, that your son is dressed so handsomely. He has a beautiful beard. He laughs at all your stuff that you say. He's really hilarious in that regard. He loves you. He's okay. All these things. It was a very emotional conversation. What she didn't share while sharing her story about her son was what his life was like in his 20s when he took his own life. She said, that's incredible. She said he had just started to give up blue jeans and t-shirts and started to wear slacks and sport coats when he took his own life. He had just started to grow a beard and wanted to grow a beard. You're describing my son. I said, he's about 40 years old now. That would be correct with the timeline of what he would be now if we were still in physical. This was an incredible experience. I thought the counselor was going to land on me and stick a needle in me and put me in the psych ward. That didn't happen. The next day, I thought my counselor is going to show up and pull me out of here. I'm out of here. This is like dual diagnosis. What are you doing? That never happened. A day went by. The second day came through, and it was toward the end of the day where there was a knock on the door. I was in a group, and my counselor said, "Jeremy, will you come with us?" And as so I followed her into a room. They had a big, long conference room. Everybody with letters after their name was there, and there was the director, and the director said, "Listen, Jeremy, there must have been 12 people in the room, all professionals." They said, "We apologize for the delay. We expected you would hear from us, but we've been reaching out to colleagues in the field and sending emails and looking for resources for you. We just don't know how to help you. We recommend you contact First Nations. You're welcome to stay. We don't think you're crazy. And contact, indigenous peoples and talk to tribal elders. They may be able to help you." That's when my journey started, 2018. So that brings us up to speed as far as, and since then, now 2020 is when I got sober, and I went live on Facebook and said, I've committed fellatio. I've done fellatio on a man. I was molested when I was a child. When I was a kid, I tore 7 teeth out of my head in psychosis on heroin and meth one day. I crazy. I don't know what I'm doing. I want to get sober. My clean date is March 1st, 2020. And I started to speak about all these things. And I remember working with my energy systems and chakras, hearing some Zen Buddhist priest talk about chakras. And I sat on the toilet where I died from an overdose in that bathroom at my parents' house. And I started to open myself. I cried. I purged for 3 months straight. It was profound. I started to have crazy spiritual experiences and talking about it publicly on social media. That brought me into alignment with an incredible group, global community of people that understood multidimensionalism in ways that I could never understand. That's why I teach it today. And that's where I'm at today.
Absolutely beautiful, Jeremy. Jolene Yuri chimed in and says, "Wow, I never heard the beginning of your story, brother."
Yes.
And we also have now Terry Linda Parker watching.
Okay.
Wow, Jeremy, wow.
So that's where actually, and just to talk about recovery, that's what really shifted me. I realized then, as an empath, as this and that, as somebody that felt such and knew and always acknowledged those feelings, sensing and knowing, that if I was to truly recover, I had to understand what I was versus who I was, which is a multidimensional being human. So
Wow. I'm just trying to catch up. I'm like, wow. Can't say I've ever done needle. Can't say I've ever done that one. I can say I was 20 years old. It's one of those times in my life. It was one of those times. I wonder what meth will do. I tried it once. All it took was one time. Oh my God. I remember being in my house. I remember being at my coffee table and doing a line about yay long, yay high, yay wide, yay wide. It was probably about a quarter inch high and probably about a quarter inch wide. I hit that crap. Last thing I remember is my nose hitting that table. Next thing I know, I come to and I've got a gun in my brother's mouth. That was 4 days later. I had held my brother hostage for 4 days with a gun in his mouth, sitting there thinking he was a cop. Well, he technically was. He was an airborne ranger, but still. And it was like, no, my brother. He finally got me off of it. After that, I didn't ever want to touch a gun again, even though my career that I had required me to carry guns. I didn't carry guns in my career anymore. I was a mercenary for 11 years. My job required me to carry guns, and I wouldn't touch a gun after that, believe it or not. I carried knives. I couldn't do a gun no more. It was that one bad experience, and after that, I got heavy into pot. People say pot can't really cost you anything. No, it can't. You know what really cost me? Cigarettes. I was pawning shit at the pawn shop. I was selling stuff at the pawn shop to get my cigarettes. Yes, there's my addiction. There's my addictive behavior. I am addicted to chaos. I was addicted to drama. I was addicted to somebody's going to bring me down. Guess what? I'm going to bring your ass down. My grandpa used to tell me, if you're going to dig a grave for you, if you're going to dig a grave, dig 2 graves. One for you and one for them. And he goes, not dig the others. And I go, what do you mean dig the others? He goes, because you're not just affecting you or them, you're affecting everybody tied to them and you. He goes, so that 2 people you're affecting, you might as well affect the whole household of 20 people, Joe. I'm like, hey, so I'll give you 10 seconds to make a decision. He goes, if you make anything past, he goes, if it takes you up to 7 seconds to make that decision, decision's been made. I'm like, so after that, my addictive behavior was chaos, drama, and sex. Yeah, I had a sex addiction. For what it was, yes. Needless, what is that word? Promiscuous. I was very promiscuous in my 20s and in college. In high school, I was promiscuous as hell. I was bisexual in high school, and I was trying to avoid because I was abused at home. I was beat up a lot. Yeah, I had all sorts of stuff. But this show ain't about me. This is about you. But I was sharing a little bit of my background. I was coming open. I told my couple friends earlier when I was talking to them that there's going to be a twist in the show, and this is the twist. Me coming open.
I love that.
I've done fellatio. I've done, like I said, I've done fellatio on guys before, and yeah, I was bi. I didn't want to ever put that out in the open, and I didn't ever want to put it out in the open because, believe it or not, after I went through a phase in my life, I finally got to a point where I accept one person in my life. Well, besides the gods, but the one person in my life, they know who they are. They're aware of who they are. Besides myself, but they know who they are. And that one person has been my mentor, has been my teacher for a good while, and they've changed me. And there are 2 people that I'd like to do a shout out to. If they're watching or not watching, Jason and Myra Gerdes. 2 of the best healers I know. I want to do a shout out to also Seraph Knight. That man has taught me some shit about myself. Oh my God. That man. And then I also want to do a shout out to Jeremy Domo himself, the guest of the show. You've taught me so much about myself, Jeremy. It's just mind blowing. But I would like to hear the rest of your story. I just wanted to share something that was on my heart.
Thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing that. We benefit from men, especially men, for coming forward and saying and speaking our truth. And not that, with all respect to women as well, but we know the particular set of challenges. My brother was gay, died of AIDS in '94, and the violence and some of that. And we live in a very, patriarchal society and strength and all this. So for you to say that as a vulnerable man, I really want to say thank you, brother, so much for being authentic. So beautiful. We would like to circle back around to when you shared about being in psychosis and feeling what you felt when you were holding your friend at gunpoint. You had these feelings of like there was danger or an operative or whatever that was. And we want to talk about the multidimensional aspect of that. Your brother Jeremy feels this, that the unconscious mind is the is one of the easily influenced things consciously. So we recognize this. We talk about multidimensionalism. For those of you who have been up for days and days, and whether or not you are a truck driver or you're doing a long haul traveling, driving, or whatever that is, and we start to feel like we see things or we're spooked out or we're goofed out or we're like, wow, it's happening. Like I'm seeing stuff in my peripherals. I'm getting heebie-jeebies. What has actually happened there scientifically is there's something that's happening on a multidimensional level. So when the body and the mind experiences fatigue, what happens is the left mind, the logical mind, starts to become fatigued and go into a resting state, which means it's not as active in perception. It's like it's exhausted. And then what happens is the right hemisphere of the mind, the innate mind, the more multidimensional feeling, sensing, and knowing, starts to become open because it's open and it's looseness anyway. It's only the logical mind that creates structures and perceptions of reality that deny the innate mind. So there's an interesting thing that we want to say. Isn't it interesting that they say Jesus Christ sat at the right hand of the Father? Well, what is the right hand of the Father? So we have the right hemisphere of the mind, the innate mind. So when we experience that now, that if you are fatigued, you've been doing meth for all these times, you're not really conscious, so you're susceptible to other energies or entities. Let's say it that way. Other things that can really make us feel like psychosis, other perceptions, and these aren't negative nor evil, but they're there to teach, to create an experience. It's almost as though something else has taken over you in that psychosis. It's almost as something else that is operating from another system that makes us so ungrounded and open to all this shite that we're experiencing. And what that is if we start to look at recovery and look at healing and look at restructuring as that, if we allow ourselves to fall into the trappings of addiction or craving, this is what is happening. This is why your brother Jeremy does the work that he does to talk about these things, to talk about what is multidimensionalism, how other aspects of consciousness can influence ourselves, right? And these are kind of truths. And I think a lot of people can relate to those feelings. And it doesn't, you don't have to be an addict. You just have to stay up for a long time, and everybody can relate to that. Wow, I saw a shadow being, or I saw something over here, it's creeping me out. I saw something. Yes, because that's what's happening. The logical mind is starting to soften in its fatigue, and the structuring of the reality we perceive starts to open into something new, something multidimensional. And if we don't understand it, well, that can be very unpleasant. Like, let's just say it for that. So that was really beautiful that you shared that, Joseph. That's kind of the thing that happens in addiction. It happens whether or not you're in addiction or not. That's what's happening. We feel deeply from a scientific level, from a consciousness level, of when we go sleep deprived or we are in these things. And here's the thing. Every thought that we have recalibrates our energy body. The lower the vibration, the lower we fall into what's known as the lower astral realm. And that is a waking state and a non-waking state astral realm. So what's happening is we can consciously be subjected to the influence of other aspects of consciousness when our vibration is very low. That's why the drugs and those things are like a respite, even though it causes hell on earth in our lives, because we're not really living in gratitude, having positivity, looking to reframe, reshape, reform, clear, cancel, release, see the goodness and the beauty of all the opportunities in our life. Every time we have a negative thought, we lower our frequency and our vibration, our vibrational state, making us susceptible to other aspects of consciousness that are in those frequencies. You see what we're saying? So since then, I know you're a paranormal investigator, all these things.
I was.
Oh, you were.
I
So would you
retired
say,
last year, but I'm still a healer, though, and I'm a quantum recovery coach.
amen. So now let's talk about that for a second. We just wanted to share that in the realm of understanding. So every time you would go to do a paranormal investigation, things like that, I've certainly experienced this. we've experienced like going to assist others. They had, uh, you know, PK manifestation, psychokinesis. We've seen things, objects move. We've heard banging on walls. We've heard growl. We've heard a lot of things. Jeremy's going there to assist somebody. One individual had cancer and was very ill. Their vibration was very low. They were living in a house and there was all these things, and there was somebody that was doing like kind of like messing around with like black magic, Wicca, dark side of things like that. And there was a lot of influences there. The second your brother Jeremy walked into that environment, it was like this is really intense. This is vibrationally very intense. Would you notice as your own case study where you would see more higher levels of paranormal activity if you yourself weren't in the healthiest state? Would you say that's true?
Yes, because I can answer that yes.
Can we
Because when you're
ask
not in the
you?
healthiest state and your mind's not strong, it's easier for something to go, let me in. And you're going to be like, it'll be like, let me in. I can help you. Yeah, I can help you,
Amen.
buddy. You can be like, come on, okay, here, go ahead, come on in. It's pretty much what you're going to do. When you're in that unhealthy state, you're vulnerable to attacks.
Yes.
That's
So
why
let me ask you.
I
Yes.
wear what I wear and keep the stuff around me that I keep around me so I can't be attacked.
So let me ask you a question. Have you ever, as your own case study, noticed when you were very loving, compassionate, there to assist, maybe there not to just simply take it or abuse on a spirit or a non-physical entity or disincarnate and just be like boastful, let's show it, let's get some airtime, but really we're loving, brother. You know, like if you've ever called, you, the chances are you didn't start out, everything was like, let's document everything to bring light to paranormal activity. But there were probably times where you were just called to assist others, to come into right. And when you come in and you do that, that when it's not even like recorded or shown publicly, there may have been more of a feeling, sensing, and knowing. Working with spirit might have been more peaceful, more loving. Those are the things we talk about. When so many people are in a lower vibrational state or an ego state, a lower ego, and wanting to do things, we're not open to the sensitivities of spirit. Everything is love. Some things are just confused. Some things want to be seen. Some things want it, but not exploited. You see what we're saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's been my experience in those years of my life where I was called to assist others, that the biggest thing that can help us to feel, sense, and know the story and that which wants to be seen and be heard is being at a higher vibrational state. Now it's not fear-based, it's loving, compassionate, and the clairs kind of open, soften, and open. And we're really getting stuck because something is, it's like the universe knows you come with love. You come to assist. You come to have reverence. And then we're able to see the nature of multidimensionalism and spiritual entities or beings. And we're actually there, we can get good things done. And that can be so wonderful. And we can change the environment and the energy within places where such things are in a holding and time and space energetically. And that's how we clear, because we have that compassion. We were able to see, but not see from fear. I
One
don't
of the
know why
guests,
we said.
love it. One of the guests made a comment. He goes, very unique and intriguing podcast. I must say, I myself dealt with drug abuse 15 to 18 years ago. I had almost destroyed me, everything I had. I've learned so much since then.
Beautiful.
Jolene Yuri says, you don't want to be compromised when doing energy work.
Yes. Amen.
I love amen to that one. Have you ever done energy work? Now, thank you, Jolene Yuri. You just raised a question for me. Okay. Okay. Have you ever done energy work but yet you were compromised, but you knew that you were in the middle of doing a healing on somebody, but you were still compromised, but you couldn't stop the healing. Have you ever had something like that
So,
happen?
of course, there are times where there have been times where I've canceled. There have been times where I've been in something and felt something that was my own. And I will express that to those who are there to assist, that is exactly what's happening. And we want to be authentic. We want to be transparent in that. Sometimes there are moments where I need a moment for myself within my own energy. If I realize something that is mine that is coming up, and I'll just say that to those who we're working with, and I may just slide away from whatever the table or whatever that is, and just take a moment for myself and move through that. Um, it feels like it is my responsibility to know thyself, to know where I am at. You know, things happen in life. We can work through those situations between self and other if we can communicate in a healthy way. Sometimes your brother Jeremy is just like, we're going to have to call and reschedule. We don't feel very good, and I'm exhausted, and I'm not in a good vibrational state to do that. I can't even get out of my own way right now. I just need to rest and say thank you, but we're not available right now. We can make recommendations for others that may be able to assist, but we have to learn when to let go and let God, and we have to know ourselves. So yes, we have. Yes.
Daniel Breuer seems to be the top contributor of comments tonight. He goes, "We absolutely need more programs like this, no question."
Amen.
Jeremy, definitely,
Yeah.
you are amazing in everything you're sharing. Very vulnerable. I have had guests on my show before. Never this raw, never this vulnerable, never like you. I've interviewed some amazing people throughout my times, but
You make me cry, man. It's taking great courage to talk about these things. It takes courage and some resilience and some grounding and processing a lot of feelings and emotions. It makes me emotional because these talking about the multidimensionalism, looking at the science, understanding these things can be of great benefit, huge potential for others to change the game and end suffering and restructure in healthy ways. And even and that's any trauma or addiction. To look at it through the lens of multidimensionalism, share, be storytellers, be our own case study, and talk about things and really kind of deeply consider our lives and our timelines. What were things like? What changed? What brought on this feeling? What made this experience? What was the catalyst? So we're talking about some deep things, and we're just grateful to have platforms in which we can talk about these things, brother. So thank you, brother, for the comment.
Jolene Yuri. Let's toss up between Daniel and Jolene on comments tonight. You're welcome, brother. She goes, I was referring to being compromised when we are listening to spirit and going out into the field. Okay, field work. Thank you, Jolene. That raises.
Okay, thank you for clarification. Yes.
Thank you. That
So
raises. Go ahead, Jeremy.
So compromise before going out in the field. That is an absolute thing. First thing I'll say to that, and great question, is be aware of what you're experiencing right now. If Brother Jeremy is experiencing fear, I can also feel into the energy before I even get there, and I need a level of discernment. Is this mine, or is this the environment, or is these are the souls that we're going to be working with? So there is a major pump the brakes thing, right? You know, usually we have the phone numbers of those who, when we were doing that type of work, and if we ever do again, that we are in communication and we could say, listen, I'm going to need another 15, 20 minutes. And oftentimes before I go enter a location, I will center ground and try to discern what is mine and what is not. We can do all the practice we want to try to be a hollow bone and have our energy field in the best, healthiest way. We do prayer work when we're doing that, not because we're afraid, but because we just want to be wise when that, and asking for a spiritual team to be with us, to help us to feel, sense, and know, to not be influenced by other energies, but to be there for a service. These things are. And then there are times where we absolutely feel this one is not something we should involve ourselves in. And we have to communicate that. So there's like a universal law of non-interference, and just saying, brother, listen, if you want to meet up for coffee, we're not going to come to the home. We want to talk about it. We would like to talk in a neutral environment, things like that. Could we have a conversation tomorrow? We may say that to those individuals. We say, we'll do some prayer work for you, send you love. It's okay. Sometimes we can feel, sense, and know that there may be nothing we can do to assist, because the individual creating that energy field is not ready. Maybe it's a belief issue. Maybe it's they're vibrationally in such a low state. But there are times where you can literally feel that this is not, in what we would say is waxing moon energy, where the light's coming back. It's more like going into darkness. It doesn't feel like there's anything we can do right now other than pray for others and wish them well, or ask to communicate in a different time, on a different timeline, at a different place, maybe. Depends. It's very unique to the situation. But yeah, so great question about going into the field.
It's interesting because definitely there's been times that I've went in the field. That's, matter of fact, what ended my paranormal days. I'd been in it for 35 years, and what ended it was my team. It wasn't my team, it was me. This is back last year. It's funny when you talk about doing healing. We went into a place that me and my cousin were equipped to take on. The others weren't. One of our team members was already compromised. And what made it hard is she was second in command of the team. That's what made it difficult. Because when I would go off my own direction, she'd be in charge of the rest of them. So she'd have to kind of rope the yahoos together. And she was already compromised before we got there. But you know what? Her and I, my old partner, my old other half, I'll put her out there. Most people knew her as Silver Shadow Light Grimness. And I told you about her, Jeremy. Her and I had already butted heads before we'd went on this investigation.
Well,
and we were compromised. Plus, it was interesting to find out while we were at the investigation to find out that she was high before we got there, so she was already compromised. So that I'm already irritated with that. So I'm trying not to blow at her, but yet our team got its first big investigation. So you see, I was compromised, team leader, myself. I was compromised. I'd already fought with her. I'd already gotten into it with her over dumb shit, so I'm already compromised, so I'm already irritated. So my emotions with my somebody with my psychic capabilities is not good. Somebody with my healing abilities is not good to be compromised. So long story short, I ended, she was already she'd gotten possessed by a demon there. I didn't know about it until 3 days afterwards. I exorcised it out of her. Damage was already done mentally to her. Damage was too far gone.
so
She left me, which I have no problem with that. I'm grateful that she left. I'm grateful that she chose her own path. And about a month or so after that, to 2 months, I walked away from the paranormal because my arrogancy damn near got one person possessed, got one person damn near killed out of his truck, and got another one to go a little crazy. They had to go in a psych ward for about a week after he went with us on our team. So that because of my arrogance, I got arrogant and wanted to take my team in something they weren't ready for. So look at all that crap I took on me for the longest time. I blamed myself for that for the longest time. And I finally got to a point to where Jason and Myra talked to me, and they said, look, it's not your fault. They all chose to come along on that hunt. They all chose to put themselves in that spot, even though they were compromised, high, whatever. Don't take on their energy. So I released it finally. That's
we haven't talked about this stuff in a long time. So like when others are referring to demons and these things, the biggest thing is that it's not, as an objective observer, we ask ourselves, are we really so Spirit once said this: just because you're educated doesn't mean you're qualified. And and we say that with love.
Okay, I gotta write that one down.
And so
I gotta write that
there's a lot of ambition, and there's a lot of not the healthiest intention, especially in paranormal community. So And because there's such a sensitivity to everybody's intentions, right? What is it they're trying to do? Who do you want to be? Why do you want to be it? What does he want to experience? Why do you want to experience it? What does he want to say or do? And why do you want to say or do it? So many people aren't asking good questions, and they kind of ignorantly and foolishly, we say this with love and compassion, run in through ambitions, because now they will be fulfilled. They will be somebody if we can show that the afterlife exists, or that entities are real, or that we can document something. And yet, no, we aren't asking good questions. We'll say that truthfully. How is your own personal life? How are your own insecurities? How is your own worth that is humble? How is your own grace? How is your own balance? And so healthy investigators will ask these questions. They will be concerned. They will feel sense and know and care about each other. They will want to know what their personal lives are like. They will want to be prepared and all these things, and they will have a good, healthy, reverence in their intention to assist. There is a significant difference in trying to educate about multidimensionalism and doing paranormal investigations, and through the ambition of that and self-seeking of that, which is which is can cause harm, so much harm, and now we're causing more harm than good, not only to ourselves but those in environments and so much more. So, and in that language of demons, and in the language of entities, or in the language of attachments, those things, that's why shadow work is so important. That's why doing your inner healing and making peace and looking at your life, your behaviors, your patterns, your beliefs, also so much can help an individual, a sentient being, understand be on a more reverent path, a more sacred path, where the identity doesn't come into it. Many things are experienced. The truest gift. When your brother Jeremy's in ceremony, we don't talk about those things unless given permission, or it's an educational way to speak of something. Because that's like medicine. That's showing reverence for that, to be able to feel, sense, and know, to be able to assist that which wanted to be assisted. We'll say that first. Jeremy is not a healer. Jeremy, this identity of Jeremy is as a healing assistant that can only work with another, between self and other, for something that wants to or is ready to restructure, reorganize, and change in a healthy way. So Jeremy is certainly not a healer. Jeremy's a healing assistant, which couldn't have been there or even been able to have that had I not been assisted myself. So I also wanted to share that as well, with reverence to everybody's beliefs or how we identify.
I like that, how you don't do labels. I love that. I watched your label show the other day. That, we'll say, a mutual contact of ours sent me that, and wow, just damn. I mean, it's interesting. It's quite fascinating how a show like this, I've never done a show like this before, and I bring you on, and then suddenly news from outside, the man Daniel is offering me a chance to do an ad for my show to help me launch a show like this right here. And it's funny, doing this show, I've been thinking about it, listening to your story, going, okay, I did paranormal podcasting, I've done UFO podcasting. Why not doing it? Why not do a podcast like this? Why not do something unique where I bring on people that have addiction problems?
Well,
I mean, it's funny. My aunt, she's been a recovering alcoholic for 40 years. Damn, that I'm a recovering pill popper. I'm a pill addict. I can't take no prescription pain pills. I'm an addict. I mean, I have that whole addict mindset. I've been clean and sober from alcohol, believe it or not, 17 years. I thought it was 16. It was 17 years back in June. I've been clean off alcohol. I don't drink. I know I can't. I never
So
thought in a million years that I would be sitting where I am.
can I say something, Brother Joseph? To touch on,
I'm
I'm great. First and foremost, brother, I love you. I love your emotional gratitude for that, and gratitude for anybody who's going through it know there's hope, guys. It's so beautiful, it's so wonderful. Like we can never imagine how wonderful our lives can be, and just it's incredible, brother Joseph. When you talked about you've done the paranormal, when we talked about demons and we talk about evil, when you talk about ETs or I don't like that in language. We just say galactic ancestors, our
there you
ancestors.
go.
When we talk about those things, so we got to ask good. It would be so much beneficial to ask good questions. So what is evil? What is the devil? Could we say it's simply ignorance that we're not aware, that we don't understand, right? That maybe it's a duality perspective. What about neutrality? So really it's just a matter of awareness or a lack of awareness. Beliefs can cause a certain vibrational state, so on and so forth. So really we're asking good questions. Why do we seek to always repel, reject, push away versus understand? Listen, Heracles said it best. In order to cure disease, don't seek to cure the disease, but understand the man with the disease. So the same thing. Where's the ignorance? Where's the belief? Where's the resistance? Why is this reality being created? And how does that apply to your life? So I think the podcast and expanding this and taking this on another level, Brother Joseph, is wonderful. Because when we're sitting here, we're like doing CE5. I know you're very aware of that, right? CE5. So CE5 is a group of people that will like channel, hold space, send out telepathy, asking for starships, star beings, star races to appear, visual documentation. These are CE5 groups, and they do this. And that's the thing. The wonderful thing is, so your brother Jeremy, in truth and authenticity, has experienced this even by himself. And I say that humbly. All right. This is my energy signature. We're visualizing, we're sending out energy here, we're grounded, we're projecting, we're putting it out there into the ether, and we're asking for a sign to know we're supported. Your brother Jeremy will sit there, and there'll be light anomalies, like all sorts of things. And you know what? Now we say we're not going to boast and talk about that. The only reason I'm mentioning that and about galactic ancestors or starships, star beings, or so on and so forth, is because that helped Jeremy in his own personal sentient life journey to make him feel supported, to feel that Jeremy had an ability to communicate with other energies or conscious beings and so on and so forth. Not to boast, not to be like, well, I'll turn into Eckhart Tolle. I look what Jeremy can do. No, so when we're asking good questions, why I think the podcast and to talk about these things is wonderful. It's because how does that apply to your life? How can that make you feel more worthy, more loved, more supported? Understand the nature of creation. That's it. That's the thing. Because in that we lose that ignorance. Jeremy boasting about telling about his experiences without having a point to it is kind of foolish, you know. And and so when I share about like communicating with star beings or light anomalies and experiences like that, the point that we're saying and why we're talking about it is because that helps me in my life cycle. Period. That's the educational. That's the storytelling part of that. Not to boast. That doesn't make Jeremy. Doesn't get Jeremy a VIP parking spot at every restaurant I go to just because he shared some ridiculous story, which is not ridiculous story about what I saw or what I manifested. No. How did that help Jeremy in his life? How did that help make him feel supported? How did that help
What the?
him take the veil of ignorance away to say that we're not multidimensional? You see what we're saying? So
Yeah.
I land with that. Chat. Oh, there you are.
Sorry, bro. What the fuck? Trying to bring Jeremy back on, people.
What happened? No, that's okay.
I'm trying
Are
to
you-
bring Brother Jeremy back on.
I'm here. I'm here.
Hey,
Hello.
there he is.
Hello.
We
Wow.
had technical difficulties for a
Wow.
minute.
That's okay. We realigned. We're okay. Hello, Rachel. Good to see you, sister. I see some comments now. How are you,
Okay, here
Brother
we go.
Joseph?
Not bad. Got I lost it for a minute. I'm like, no.
That's okay.
Oh,
That's it's a synchronicity about the disconnection we feel when we're not asking good questions. How can that enhance and enrich your life? Like, we need that break. We need a break to consider things. We need a break to reflect and ask good questions. What is it we're doing? Why are we doing it? Who do we want to be? Why do we want to be it? What is it I want to experience? Why do I want to experience it? These things. We're asking good questions. So it's a great synchronicity.
it's interesting when you say synchronicity. It's interesting how we get talking about a subject. The darkness does not like the light. We get talking about a heavy subject. Look what happens. My phone freezes for a minute, and I'm trying to bring it back on. It won't come back on because we're talking heavy subject. I've had people on my show before in the past and talked about like addictions, demons, demonic stuff like that, and suddenly all my equipment went down. I was like, "What the hell?"
So brother, when you said the darkness doesn't like the light, really think about that, because the darkness is the light. It's just a different hue. It's just a different density. It's not, it's one and the same. It is all part of the same thing. Realistically, if you look at the infinity symbol, let's say it this way, like a rubber band, and you twist the rubber band, right? And now you think there's a light in the dark. Let's be honest. Let's ask good questions. But if you snap that out, it comes back to the same. It's a continuum. It's Ouroboros. It's all the same. So when we say that there's a light, that's us creating that separation, which is belief and structure and all these things. You see what I'm saying? And then that reality is generated, and it really feels like that. And shit beyond us starts to show up like that. Man, there's a devil. There's a demon. There's this. There's that. And we're not saying that different vibrational states aren't real, or that consciousness can't work with consciousness. But what we are saying is that it's part of the same continuum. And they both work together. It's all part of the same thing. It's Ouroboros. It just appears through duality as light and dark. That's what we're saying. If we can understand that, man, wow, game changer.
Oh, definitely. If that can be understood, then things are going to become more.
We create our own realities vibrationally.
We do. My aunt has this book in her bathroom called As a Man Thinketh, and I've read it when I was a kid. Not this book, my mom had one. It was called As a Man Thinketh, and what it is, as a man thinketh, so is he. What a man thinketh is in his mind, shall he thinketh in his heart, shall he speaketh out loud. Therefore, what the man thinketh cometh from deep within, and therefore what the man speaketh into reality, therefore becomes his function of reality, and therefore becomes who he is to become. I read that when I was like 10, 11 years old, blew my mind, and it's like, it's funny, I walk in my Aunt Linda's bathroom, it's sitting right down the back of the toilet, I turn and look at it, now it, huh. I was like, I have that book. She's like, nope, sorry, because I like reading that book. Because this is where I do most of my thinking out of my. So I sat there with that book and I read it, and I'm like, oh my God. I read that book in probably about 20 minutes because it's like this thick. but it's profound. It's like not very thick. It's probably maybe like a quarter-inch thick, if that. And I'm reading some profound books that are making me think. I'm reading one called The Path of the Dream Healer, the quantum role of healing, the quantum role of energy healing by Adam. There's 2 in the series. And it's opening my eyes to a lot of things around me. My eyes are becoming more open, more clarity is coming into play, things that I didn't experience in my life. And it's funny, it took me coming back home. Well, this isn't my home, this isn't where I grew up in the house that I'm in, the back porch. I used to play on this porch all the time. I used to play in the yard. I've scraped my face up, my knees up hell. First time I smoked pot when I was 9 years old was on this very porch right here. Ironically enough, right where I'm sitting at, this very spot, this very
Wow.
spot
How much
is
is,
where
yeah.
I got this very spot right here. It's where I had my very first kisses in this very spot. There's a lot of firsts in this house that I've went through. This,
Brother. So
it's
now look at you. Now look at you today. Your belief systems and how you see realities are very different. Listen, when you talked about that book that you're reading, so you activated a thought marble inside of Jeremy's mind. Beautiful, wonderful. So let's ask a question. Let me ask you a question since we're talking about good versus evil. If it says, I believe it says in the Bible, maybe I'm not sure, but the tongue has the ability of life and death, right? The tongue. Okay. So in the same context, can we say that the mind has the ability to create heaven or hell? Well, same thing. Same thing. That's why we do the work we're doing today to talk about these things and how and what, because everything comes down to 7 sacred things. Truly, the simplest way to explain creation is this: that everything is consciousness, energy, frequency, vibration, creation, maintenance, and destruction. Those seven things. No coincidence that it comes down to 7 things. So you are either maintaining this dualistic reality of dark versus light. You are either you're destroying that, regenerating into a new paradigm, so on and so forth. And it's all about frequencies. It's about vibration. It's about the level of consciousness. It's about understanding self and other, and so much more. So it's creation, maintenance, and destruction. Our realities change. What's going on, brother? You've been digging it?
We've got what's called a slough over here. It's like a swamp, but it's called a slough.
Yeah.
Just had 4 deer come running across in the yard neighbor over
It's
here.
beautiful.
2 of them
And they're in the darkness. It's nighttime. You got 4 deer, which
yeah.
but deer represent joy in animal spirits. And that's joy in the darkness. Another wonderful synchronicity to support what we're talking about.
It blew my mind. I'm sitting there trying to focus on what you're saying, and I'm hearing this. I'm hearing running, and I'm
You
like,
said 4. So in numerology, 4s represent foundation. So what we're talking about is planting seeds to understand conscious deeply and try to understand duality. 4 deer in the darkness, wonderful synchronicity. God bless the deer spirit. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sending them, Creator. How wonderful. 4 deer in the darkness. How beautiful.
yep, they're just running down the sidewalk in the neighborhood. That's all they're doing. Blessed be indeed.
Well, what time is it, brother? I know I have something else coming up at the top of the hour, but
9 p.m. right now.
what it's been an hour?
Yep.
What a wonderful way to end this, and thank you for having me on, brother.
Anytime.
Is that okay if yes, of course, if we conclude? And
If you want to conclude, we can, and I definitely would like to do a second round with you again on this topic of, I already know what the topic would be: addiction.
I would love to, brother. We're all born vulnerable mammals into the addiction consciousness. We could talk about that anytime. Yeah. I love you. Thank you for all you do, brother.
I would like you to go ahead and close out the show, my brother.
Okay, so we say thank you so much, Creator, Father, Mother, Father. Thank you so much for us to be able to come to here, to be in physical, to be able to come and discuss these things, these concepts which have helped us. We say thank you so much. We say thank you to the beautiful deer spirit, which bring us joy. We say thank you for the ability to know that opportunity is now, opportunity is now, opportunity is now for us to either heal, restructure, let go, dissolve, renew, be reborn, and see the creation and the nature of reality in a very different way. And we're so grateful to know that we are just getting started, and that what we feel is right today may completely change into a higher light tomorrow. And we love that uncertainty, and we embrace the continuum. And we say thank you, Creator. Amen. Aho. Blessed be.
Blessed be. And now I will do my closing. My closing of the show is simple. To quote Agent Fox Mulder from the X-Files, that's what the show is derived from. Fox Mulder. When the truth is out there, you'll find it. But when the truth is simply put in front of you, it's going to be hidden, because there are dualities and there are powers that be, whether it be our own government, friends, family, hide the truth from us. And he would simply always say, Scully, look, they've hid it from us for years. I'm just saying over my sister, it's me finding the truth. The truth is out there. Keep believing.
Amen. And the truth is through us.
Exactly.
Wonderful show, Joseph. Thank you for all you
Thank
do.
you.
Thank you. Privilege and honor to be able to come and share with you, beautiful souls, and share with you. And thank you, brother, again for being vulnerable. And I really love you and appreciate you in every way.
Definitely want to do a round two. And pretty soon, people, whoever's out there still watching, listening, there's going to be a round two with Jeremy coming on.
Wonderful. We
Jeremy,
look forward to it, brother. Thank you so much, brother.
you're
Everybody have
welcome.
a wonderful night. Thank you, Jolene, for the kind words. You guys have a wonderful night. Thank you for everybody participating and everybody else on future timelines that will see this. We hope this has helped some, and we send you love. That's always nature's business who resonates, but we do love you, and we are grateful to be here. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Namaste.
Take care,
Bye.
everyone. Ciao, ciao.
Ta-ta.